slide is really, really nice because it tells us what has happened in these 3 years, from X1000 to X2000. Red means there has been a change. So you can see the dimensions and the weight shrunk significantly. The resolution is now UHD 60p, so we can deliver up to 4K 60p, very high frequency for smoother movement. We have a high data rate of 200 megabit per second, smooth movement, good detail reproduction because we have the higher data rate. The sensor, 1/2.5 inch, 1/2.3 inch. The sensor itself, physical unit, is slightly smaller, but the efficiency, the effective area is larger. So when you look at the pixels, the effective pixels, formerly X2000 is labeled with 18.9 pixels, of which are only 8.85 effective. So you're using only a tiny part of the sensor. So even though the sensor itself was bigger, the area of the sensor that we're using now is bigger than formerly. So 8.57 mega we are using and 8.29 effectively versus 18 formerly and 8.8 effectively. So our individual pixel is bigger, by this giving us a better potential for image quality. The optical zoom has been enlarged 20 times versus 24 times. While retaining the open aperture, so we still have a maximum opening of f1.8. The smaller the number of the f-stop, the more light can come in at a shorter time. So f1.8 is a very good starting aperture, which we still retain with this 24 times zoom. We have more wide angle than before. Instead of 29 millimeter, we now go 25 millimeter. So initially, there's a comparison. You get a wider view. You have an improved image stabilizer system, which I will show you. We have an improved autofocus, which is due to implementing Venus Engine. So now it's called 4K high precision AF, meaning even though we now have 4K, so higher resolution, initially giving us more challenges for most things, even the AF operation system will perform on the same level as it does with Lumix, including face detection, analysis, etc., because the Venus Engine is capable of that. Recording formats we retained, carrying on with older formats also, ABC HD, because we want to keep the tradition. People who started with this can continue. We have a data compression including now H.265, which is HEVC, so we have more formats added into the whole thing. We have 10-bit recording now, which is a really decisive factor. We'll explain later. We have slow motion. We can work with less light, so less lux are necessary to operate the whole thing. We can now live stream. That's big news. We have added SDI. BNC is the astrophysical connections. We've added SDI. The next big change, the remote. Formerly we had analog interface. We need two different interfaces. Now we have a digital interface in a mini jack, which means that more devices from third-party manufacturers can be made compatible, which of course for video is really important. USB devices, we have a micro USB and a host device only in CX10. We have a higher resolution display and we have simultaneous display, so we can operate via the LCD and the viewfinder at the same time. The rings are improved, the battery life is slightly improved, but the big news is not less. Although we've added so much digital functionality and so much more power by the engine, we have not lost battery power. And we have, and I think this is really big news, a removable handle unit, which gives you a lot of functional extensibility. So this is basically one of the most important slides for you to compare to our predecessor and to basically show what has been done in these 3 years. Yeah, this is an internal chart. Please do not share outside of Panasonic because it involves competitors. So you can see, compared to the most popular and relevant Sony models and the new Canon model, our concept small but capable, mobile but capable, is shown very easily. So if you compare it with the models that have the bigger sensor, a 1-inch sensor is bigger than a 1/2.5-inch sensor. You can see that the units from Sony that use the bigger sensor can either deliver only 30p in 4K or even less. Then they have much smaller zoom capability. So instead of 24 times zoom, you get 12 times. Some people might say, well, 12 times is a lot. True, but we target the universal operator. So we want you to be out in the field and to be able to get every shot. The beautiful landscape and the exotic bird on the tree with one lens. Also, we are much brighter, f2.8 versus f1.8. So your depth of field, but also your low light capability are much stronger in our product than with a larger sensor. The performance, of course, of the image stabilizer and of the autofocus is easier the smaller the sensor is. So we have advantages here versus the bigger sensor. One thing is, out in the field, alone, you don't know where you end up and you need to get the shot, you need to have enough battery power. So if you compare 250, 2 hours, 220, 4 hours 35. Yeah, that's a clear advantage that we have. We are smaller, even a little bit smaller than the new Canon, which is significantly lighter. And we are able to operate remotely and with SDI, 3TI. So comparing to the bigger sensor was one thing, comparing to the new Canon, which is also the small sensor and has also the f.8, we still have advantages in our zoom, 20 times versus 24 times zoom, and basically the longer running time at the more slow motion. So we do have a lot of arguments against Sony and Canon, which is our most important competitor for this kind of camcorder. Closing this chapter was taking a closer look at all the main parts. If you look at the whole thing, handle, body, XLR leveling unit, signification of what's going in. I'm showing you the details on the later slide. On the other side of this, the XLR plugs themselves. The remote unit and the USB and the mic in are hosted at front of the camera. So here, from Lumix, we know it also on the side, but it won't be more on the side back. Here you have it on the side front. So here's your grip, here are your cables. And there is a cable save. We have this on here, no, but we have it on the later slide. So if you have your cables here, you can secure them here to come down after your hand, which is nice. We have the operation wheels for zoom and iris. Iris is the same as aperture in Photo Talk. Iris is the video talk of that. We have the focus ring. Here's where you put in your ND filters in a different strengths. We have a slide for that. Most things are set via the jog dial, which is a tiny little thing down here. So if you're in the menu and you want to operate and you want to change things, here's the jog dial. It's an important thing to steer the camera. Operational buttons, most of them are here. Important thing, we have 12 user buttons that can be programmed, 5 of which are physical, 7 of which are soft buttons on the display. And you can also reprogram the OIS button, which is up here, and the AE button, which is one of those two. I think this one, check, because it's not so visible. Yeah, the IE level here you can reprogram as well. Here's your card slots, 2 times SD cards. From the top, you've seen the things that I've already seen: light leveling, cold shoe, turning on off the light, recording. One thing is that this jig and this are mirrored. So here is my zoom operation and it's mirrored here on the back. And the zoom operator, you can, by pressing more or less, you can also adjust the speed of the zoom. So this is really nice. From the front, very easily, lens, LED light. EVF, nice thing about the EVF, put it out, tilt it up. SDI output you will miss at X1500, but at X2000 it's here. The HDMI is here next to the battery, the headphone jack as well, and a DC input, so that's where you get the power into the